I started teaching back in 1995, and over the last 30 years, the handwriting of children has gone from bad to worse. It was already bad, but now it's just horrendous. Hi, my name is Luciana Garcia, and I am an integrative developmental and educational specialist. My focus is on helping you to reverse the learning and behavior challenges of your child or student or yourself, anybody who has any issues. Principles work for everybody. In today's video, I'm going to talk about some contributing factors for sloppy handwriting and what you can do to help correct it in your child or your students today. But first, please hit the subscribe button so you'll be the first to know when I post a new piece of content. When I was a child, I remembered that we actually got grades for handwriting. Every week we were required to write sentences, spelling words, definitions, or what have you. And one of those assignments we were graded for handwriting. And so I remember trying really, really hard because I was very competitive and I wanted a really good grade. And I never could get like the best grade. My handwriting didn't dramatically change from one to the next, but I did try really hard. And the act of trying in itself was helpful. Otherwise, who knows what would happen. So, and that has actually all gone by the wayside. Even just the expectation of having good handwriting. I mean, and I taught for many, many years. It's just not in the schools. It's not a priority. We have so much on our plates as teachers that and there's a lot of well-intentioned teachers that try to like stick it into their curriculum, but it's not just a part of the curriculum. But you know, I never considered myself to have, you know, beautiful writing, but pretty decent writing, but I often get compliments. So that usually surprises me. I remember when I was teaching at the university and I would write on the whiteboard because I am really good. I write cursive very well and I write on the whiteboard very well. And I would get like compliments because the students I was teaching, there were student teachers and it was their last semester to go into teaching, and they were always in awe because they often didn't have good handwriting. In fact, they had to take a test and they had a class, one of their classes, and I remember they were all nervous one day because they were trying to practice on the board because they had to take a test about how to write on the board. I mean, first of all, when I was in teacher ed program, we had chalkboards. And you know, chalkboards, by the way, is different because there's a different proprioceptive input with chalk than with the marker, because you feel the grain, like it's more tactile. So I think that kind of helps. By my first year teaching, I had chalkboards, and I remember when they finally changed it to whiteboard, and there's so much dust all over the place. I mean, it was always a mess, but anyway, but I think it's a good experience to write with chalk. So the question is, why is penmanship going down the drain in the last few years? So I think there's several factors. First of all, like I said, teachers in schools are not as a whole valuing it anymore. It's not emphasized or taught correctly, if at all. Even if one teacher here and there tries to squeeze it in, like squeeze in some cursive instruction in a third grade classroom, the other teachers may not be reinforcing it. So you know, if one teacher finally gets students to be able to read cursive writing on the board, the next one might just print everything, and then the kids forget or whatever. It's not reinforced. So that's you know, kind of sad. So you know, it's like these lone teachers who are kind of working in isolation, and they don't have this like systemic value system with handwriting. Technology is, of course, totally getting in the way. Kids today are used to thumbing their ways around the phone and typing. They have less need to even pick up the pencil. So there are schools, like I remember one teacher was so proud because she came from a 95% paperless school. Well, I am not really on board with that. I'm very kind of upset that I even have to be sitting in front of a computer to do work, because just the technology alone, the EMF and the not being face to face and not having, tactilely and holding a pencil and writing on paper, all of that is really not good for our brains. And fine motor skills in general are shot. So it's not that it isn't that they can't write legibly, but they can't. They also can't do other typical fine motor skills such as sewing, stringing beads, or other intricate art projects that require good fine motor skills. So in cutting, so it's not just the handwriting is the issue. So like I say, it's a bunch of things kind of that come together. So why are there issues with fine motor skills? Again, technology is replacing the need for a pencil, but it's also occupying all of their time, so they're no longer wanting to engage in the other activities that involve fine or gross motor skills, like playing ball or coloring, right? We used to color all the time. Gone are the days where kids were, on the street just playing ball. The grasp and Babkin primitive reflexes are hand reflexes that are involved with developing those fine motor muscles, and they are commonly unintegrated in today's children. So if you've ever seen a child cut with scissors and they're cutting and they go like this, okay, that's the Babkin reflex. Because there's a connection between the hand and mouth. When a baby is born, their hands are kind of meant to squeeze the breast for breastfeeding, and that will help them suck. So when a baby is born, a midwife, if they know, they will stimulate their palm in order for the baby to learn to start sucking. These reflexes integrate with specific movements and activities children do, such as swinging on monkey bars, which is a really big one, engaging in fine motor activities, such as playing with hard clay, and all these things are quickly disappearing from our culture and our schools and our classrooms and even in the houses. And in our playgrounds, right? I mean, I guess we can find monkey bars. We can't really find merry-go-rounds. It's a different issue, but it's very important. Again, with learning, being on a merry-go-round, and those have all pretty much all but disappeared. When children are in kindergarten, they should be learning how to hold a pencil correctly. And many children have improper grip. So the way, kindergarten teachers used to go around, so here's a pencil. The kindergarten teachers used to go around to all the students and pull the pencil out. If they couldn't pull the pencil out, the child was holding too tightly. So this was a long time ago. And so as they're developing their skills, they need, so the little kids, they need to have fat crayons, markers, fat pencils. Okay, this one's actually a triangular pencil. I'll talk about that in a second. But they need to have because their little muscles in their hand and their little bones in their wrist are not able, they have to hold on so tightly to a skinny pencil because it's just going to fall out of their hand, and their wrist bones are not developed and their little muscles are not ready to do that. They need to start with the fat and go over time into the skinny. But when I was in a school, the kindergarten teachers didn't want to do that because for convenience. They just felt the kids could just go right straight to a skinny pencil. And some of the kids might have been ready, but it wasn't still developmentally appropriate. And so students with grips, like some students they have different pencil grips, right? So some students do this. Actually, it was really, my son's first grade teacher, she held her pencil like that. I could not believe it. She's teaching kids how to write and she's holding her pencil like this. There's my autistic son, he holds his pencil like this. He has great handwriting because he just adapted, like he learned. But this is a really big red flag. This just really shows that the muscles, they're using all their bones in order to hold up their pencil. And the proper way, by the way, to hold a pencil, or to teach kids to hold a pencil is, or an easy way to teach them is for them to like grip just with these two fingers and then go like this. And then these fingers can go underneath. They should be holding a pencil with the ends of these two fingers. Now, what's interesting is I always thought I had a good pencil grip, and one day I was taking a brain gym class or something, and somebody noticed what I was doing is and a lot of people I think probably do this, I was holding my, not with the two ends, but with the side of my finger. No. How was I doing it? No, I wasn't holding it with the side. I was doing something and it was like slightly on the side of my finger. I don't exactly even remember how I was doing it because now I hold it correctly. But what happens is when you hold it correctly, this arc, the bone is holding the pencil. But if you hold it with any other place, you're putting force on the muscle, and that's why that arm gets really tired, is because the muscle is active and then everybody's like shaking out their hand and everything. So if you hold the pencil correctly, it actually doesn't hurt. When I took my, there was a, when I was doing my, like, in California, you could take a test. You could test out of, so you could be an admin at a school. And I took the test. It was a 6-hour test, and I knew it was going to be a 6-hour written test. This was, I don't know, back in the eon days. And I went shopping for the softest pen ever, like with the thickest gel. And I bought 2 of them because I didn't want to run out of ink. And I knew that my arm was going to hurt. And I didn't realize the whole time that I was slightly holding my pencil incorrectly. So pencil grip is really important. Okay, so one thing for support, if they have really bad pencil grip, or you know that their muscles are really weak, the first step you should do is take a ping pong ball. Now this is my only ping pong ball, so I'm not going to put a hole in it. You put a hole in it, and then you slide the pencil through, and then they're holding their pencil through their ping pong ball. That is a really good way to help with for them to form their fingers correctly. Also, then there are different pencil grips. There are this one I don't really like it. This is not my favorite, but this one has like your 3 fingers in it. And I kind of tried, because my youngest son, he kind of did have some issues there. So my favorite, well, here's a little one, and you can see that it's like molded, and there's like a star where one finger goes there. It's like you have to almost figure out, like, okay, which way does it go? Like, okay, here, it goes this way. So you have to figure out where it goes and then put the pencil on correctly. I like these the best, especially the ones that are a little bit squishier. Like these are a little bit flexible, but your fingers, these 2 fingers go here. And so your pencil, I'm going to have it, this pencil, I don't know if it'll fit, because it's better. There, and you write like that. So that's kind of helps with the pencil grip. And then there's one more. I had another pencil grip that I liked even better, and I can't find it. But anyway, any pencil grip that kind of gets your fingers to be in the position that it's supposed to be. Also, to help strengthen those fingers, they can do things like, like opening and closing clothespins. I have a whole basket full of these plastic kind of clothespins that they're even a little bit tighter than this. They can go around and they can pick things up with the clothespins. Okay, so they're using these 2 fingers specifically, because some kids, be careful, they'll try to do this. So you want them to use these first 2 fingers. And I love chopsticks. Chopsticks are really good. So we lived in Japan, so when I was working with kids, they were used to having chopsticks around. So chopsticks are really good. And I'm not even a professional at chopsticks, but I would have rice on the table, and they would try to pick up the chopsticks with rice, pick up the rice with chopsticks. And I don't know if you know this, but there are some like training wheels for chopsticks. So there's this little adapter thing. And let's see if it goes this way. Nope, it must go the other way. Yeah, I think it goes this way and this way. Okay, this is how you can teach kids how to use chopsticks. Or they even have these like little kid chopstick ones too. So I just brought these because most Americans never have seen these. I have a lot of different chopsticks. I liked chopsticks when I was there. It was a fun thing to collect. They don't take up a lot of the space. So it's critical to get them when they are learning to write before they develop muscle memory for the wrong way. That's why my autistic son, even though he learned to write like correctly, he just never did. He was too old and he was too stubborn, and he was, so he wouldn't change. So what happens when you have an inappropriate grip? You can develop muscle tensions in the arm, like we said. What can we do to promote fine motor skills so that your children is ready to hold a pencil? Again, just what I said, some of these pinching things, making pinch pots with clay, doing activity with tweezers, picking things up, using paintbrush to paint, finger painting, chopsticks, anything that gets those like little fingers moving, stringing beads, and doing activities like grabbing and let go, okay, where they have to let go, and monkey bars, because they have to grab and they have to let go, and that's very important. So trying to take them to the monkey bars, that it's not only going to help their fine motor, it's going to help so many different other parts of their body, and their visual skills too. Touching fingertips to their thumbs, okay, anything that helps isolate the different fingers, even rubbing the hands all over, stimulating that, because then they get that, then they can feel the different, and activating each knuckle, like pull, push, twist, twist with each knuckle, and rubbing and massaging the hands. All of a sudden they start feeling more of the little parts of their hands. Okay, so if you are interested in other things that teachers should know about learning but don't, especially if you are a teacher, then check out my ebook by clicking the link in the description below and pass it along to your other teachers that you know and care about, or if you're a parent, pass it on to your child's teacher or teachers at their school. And until the next video, I wish you well. Bye-bye.